Hey guys. So this is one of my favorite parts about this project. I really like the idea of using my 3D printer for something and then really just covering the entire thing. So that way it's kind of hard to even tell that it is a 3D printed item. So just to make this look a little bit more natural, what I'm doing is I'm just taking a little bit of Elmer's glue. You could also use BA glue or really any glue that you want. And I'm dabbing it on with a foam brush and then sprinkling some of that loose leaf that I sent along in your kits. Definitely try to put a paper towel or piece of paper underneath. That way, when you're all done, you can kind of shake it out and then you could put all the excess back into the bag and use it for other projects as well. I'm just doing a little bit at a time just to make sure that the glue doesn't dry, and that way it can grip as much of the little grass pieces as possible. If you notice that some of the areas are looking a little dry, it's easier to dab on a little extra glue onto the 3D printed piece rather than on top of a piece that already has a little bit of grass on it. But if you need to, no big deal. Okay, so the next what I do is I'm painting the stones gray. And again, you can paint it any color that you want. I just chose to do gray. But I'm going to do a little base of gray first. It doesn't need to be super solid. Honestly, just a little coverage goes a really long ways with this. If you get it underneath, it's not a big deal because we're going to be covering that up. Just try to make sure there's not a bunch of big globs of paint because that could prevent the grass piece from sitting inside there. Okay, so the next what I'm going to do is I'm just sprinkling a little bit of sand on top, and that's going to give the stone pavers a little bit more of like a natural rocky look rather than being so smooth. And then same thing, I always try to save my excess just for another project. Once that sand is dry, I went back in with my gray paint and I just painted another coat on top. Um, I only used one paint for this, and now looking back, I kind of wish I would have maybe had a couple different shades of this gray out, just to give it a little bit more of a natural look. But, you can do it however you want, whatever brings you joy. Dabbing it definitely made a big difference. I noticed when I was doing the strokes initially that it was grabbing the sand and it was kind of pulling it off in some areas. So I switched over to just kind of dabbing it on, and that worked better. Do make sure when you're doing this, if you get some of it on the sides of the stones, try and clean it up. I used a little toothpick and I just scraped along the edges of each stone, and that really did a good job. So then once both of your pieces are dry, you could take them and combine them, and you can kind of see how it has like the different textures. I just love it. I think it's really cool and it just gives it such a real natural look. For this, I'm using the BA glue. I think it works really well, but if you have another glue that you prefer to use on plastic, you can do that as well. And then just to prevent my fingers from getting all sticky, I use the little toothpick. But yeah, ta-da! I don't know. I really like how it came out. I hope you guys like it too.